Hello from Johnson Square.
Hello.
Guess who I have
Hi,
today?
everybody.
I finally connected with her.
Woohoo!
Today we're going to talk about the 3 most unproductive ways that small business owners waste time, and none other than Dr. Melissa Gratias.
Gracious, thank you, darling. I appreciate it. Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Gratias. I help business owners, executives, attorneys, and accountants be more organized, effective, and yes, productive at work.
And I'm going to flip you right around. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Hello, darling. Yes. Okay. So I work with a lot of business owners. I'm a business owner. I am 10 years as a business owner myself, and
Congratulations.
Thank you, darling. From both personal experience and lots of work with clients, I have come up with 3 things that I see people just like you doing over and over and over again that have likely contributed to a feeling of maybe spinning your wheels, maybe being overwhelmed, but
If you're a small business owner, everybody experiences that.
Gosh, yes, absolutely, because it is the nature of business ownership to feel very personally invested in this baby, this business that we have. So I work with people to help them better balance, better manage their time, their priorities, and get that baby moving
So
forward.
how do you do that? I mean, small business owners, you get up at the break of dawn and you work all day.
Yes.
So I'm really curious to find out what tips you do have for all of us.
Absolutely. Okay, so the first thing is I will tell a client, if you don't have a mountaintop in the distance, okay, to which you know you are striving, you're just kind of wandering aimlessly through the weeds in the desert and whatever, then I can help you get nowhere a lot faster. But you don't want to get nowhere a lot faster. You want to get to your mountaintop in the distance. So the number 1 most unproductive behavior I see small business owners display is a lack of knowledge of where they want to be and go, and what that mountaintop is.
So let's do a case study. Let's
Yes,
come up with something
absolutely.
to give a concrete example.
Sure, okay. Client of mine right now is a combination realtor, property manager, investor, contractor, and dad, and all these other things. And now he's considering possibly closing 1 or 2 of his businesses. Now, that's not an insane thought on his part, but he is closing them just based on gut feeling or just whim, whatever you want to say. What I'm telling him, and I'm telling you right now, is that it is so important to know what you are trying to achieve. What financial goals do you have? What personal goals do you have? Are you building a business to sell it? Are you building a business to leave it to your children? Are you building a business or a career? What is it you're trying to achieve? Your business plan.
You'll never know if you arrive.
Exactly. And you'll never feel successful if you don't have a goal. Okay, you will never feel successful if you don't have a goal, because like Marjorie said, you'll never arrive. You're always moving, you're always trying to get somewhere, and you don't know where a destination is.
It's kind of the same thing when you write down everything you have to do every day and scratching it off. At least you feel like you've accomplished something.
I get this false feeling of accomplishment. Look, I scratched something off. Was it the right something though? So here's what I tell my clients and you who are watching. First of all, you must set your goals. You must set goals for your business in general, for your life, and I recommend that these goals be very, very specific. Vague goals like be successful. I mean, how do you measure be successful?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that look like? Be specific.
So give us an example.
Okay, I want to make X amount of money in X amount of time, and then build my revenue by this, and this over X amount of time. I want to have this, so something that gives you the opportunity to fail. Goals are not specific unless there's a possibility of failure.
Ooh, I hadn't heard that.
Right? So if there's no way to fail at them, because you can't really tell when you get there or not, then it's not a real goal.
I have never heard that.
Okay. Well, it's an original.
Yeah.
I like
that. We need to play that.
So be specific. Second tip for knowing that mountaintop in the distance is challenge yourself. Goals that are too easy to obtain are not motivational. We humans are motivated by a challenge. We are motivated when there's that possibility of discomfort. Like the distance between where we are and where we want to be is a little wide, a little wider than is comfy and happy and cozy. That stretch, it is the essence of human motivation, is to have distance.
That's why you have a PhD in this.
Whoa. Maybe. Yeah. So the distance between where I am and where I want to be, the wider that is, the more the motivation. Now, we don't want it so wide that it's just, there's no way in the world I could possibly achieve that, so I'm not even going to try. But we want it challenging. So first thing, make those goals specific. Second things, make those goals challenging. The third tip to knowing that mountaintop in the distance and being able to get there is to not keep your goals secret. If you have secret goals, then you feel accountable to no one.
Yeah, exactly.
So share your goals.
So who would you share them with?
I personally, I have had a business coach. I have had a business coach for the past 7 years, and it is the best investment I have made for myself. This person helps me set goals that are very challenging. She helps hold my feet to the fire, and I do that for a lot of my clients as well. She helps me stay on track. I share my goals with my family. I run my goals past my family because here's the kicker. They also have to invest in my goals. My time spent on these goals is not just my professional hours. It is my personal hours as well. So I typically set goals in the areas of my life that are very important to me, my professional life, my personal life, and other areas of...
How does it look when you do that?
How does it look?
Yeah,
Oh gosh.
tell me about that.
How does it look? Because I don't know if you can tell this, I'm a little bit out there. I love things that are visual and that that are organic. So I personally like using a mind mapping tool.
And explain that.
I will.
Yes.
Mind mapping is simply a graphical depiction of the that doesn't make any sense. It is, you get on mindmeister.com, okay? There you go. Start mindmeister.com. And and there's a box in the center of the blank
So let's
page.
use you as an
Okay.
example.
My example. So my MindMeister goal setting for this year. I had the year in the center, and then there was a branch off of it for my personal stuff. There was a branch off of it for aspirational business stuff. There was a branch off of it for my core business, and there was a branch off of it for my community stuff.
And then more branches to the side?
Yes, and then off of those sprung my goals, because I really wanted to be balanced in those 4 areas. Maintaining my core business, doing some really cool new stuff, keep personal stuff, making sure I don't neglect my family, and contributing to my community.
Do you put dates on those?
I do. I also, so I have the goals, the specific challenging goals on there, and I check in with me on a monthly basis, looking at the spider web looking thing of goals, and I make sure I'm on track. And I revise it as appropriate, because sometimes life changes. Goals need to change as well. Just make sure that you're altering them for good reasons and not just because I don't want to do that. So first thing for small business owners, just to make sure that you remain successful. Set goals. Know your mountaintop in the distance.
How many goals would you set? Is it unlimited?
It depends. That's the
Let's
good
just
answer.
Okay, well, let's just talk business-wise.
Okay, business-wise, typically I tell people, it depends on how large they are. If it's a huge goal that's going to take...
Let's say under 10 employees.
Under 10 employees. If you are setting goals that are going to require a tremendous amount of your time, you don't want more than like 3 to 5.
For the year.
Yeah, and for me, in each of those 4 categories, I'll have anywhere from 1 to 4.
And what are the categories again?
My personal categories were personal goals, aspirational business goals, core business goals, and community service goals. So that was just me personally.
But you can make up anything.
Oh, but you should make up. You should figure out what are your values, what's important to you, and then your goals would stem off from there. So make sure, however, know your mountaintop. Otherwise, it's a bunch of activity, crossing things off lists, and then at the end of years even, you can say, where have I gotten to? Why was I doing this to begin with? I don't know. So the first most unproductive behavior is people operating without the big picture, without their goals in mind. All right?
Awesome.
Okay.
Great.
Second,
Great information.
Thank you. Second most unproductive behavior of my small business owner clients is when they come to me. Okay, let me just give you an illustration here. Someone comes in, business owner, and I ask a very simple question. I'll look at the owner and I'll say, I don't have my pad of paper out, and I know what this question is going to do. I'm giving away all my secrets here. So I will say, how many hours a week do you work? Knowing full well the person across the table from me is going to be like a bunny in the headlights. I don't know. I'd really have to think about that. I don't know how many hours a week, because I work all the time. I work constantly. I work all the time. I never clock out. I own the business. I work all the time. So what I tell my clients is that an unboundaried calendar is a very dangerous thing.
Right.
I mean, if you are seriously open for business 24 hours a day, then that is going to have a cost. When you say yes to one thing, you say no to something
else.
else.
There's only so much energy you have.
Yes, I mean,
time
management is it's a racket. We all get the same amount of time, no matter how smart or motivated or educated we are. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. That's how it is. If you are open and working all of those hours and available to work, then it will use you. If you say yes to that kind of schedule, you will be saying no to other things like your health, your family, the other areas of your business. There's so many things you're saying no to that you may not even realize. So
that's setting the values.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's important, setting the
yes
goals.
What am I saying no to? Because you are saying no to something.
Let's talk about saying no, because small business owners have a really hard time in the community saying no.
Absolutely.
They're always asking to give something or volunteer their time. What's the
I'll tell you.
Address that?
Okay, I wrote a book called Love Your Calendar and Be Monogamous. Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay. So Love Your Calendar and Be Monogamous. In my book, I go into it's funny you mentioned this, Marjorie. There's a section that I entitled "How to Say No Without Feeling Like a Jerk." Okay. So here, that's what you're talking about. How do you say no without feeling like a jerk? And here are some bullet points from that section of my book. Number one is say, I need to check my planner. It is perfectly acceptable to buy yourself some time to consider their request by saying, I need to check my planner. Okay, because we are pleasers, we are business owners, we want to build relationships and all that kind of stuff. So it is okay to say, I need to check my planner. But however, do not buy yourself time when what you really need to be saying is no thank you. Because if you say, I need to check my planner, now guess what? You have to check your planner
and get
back with them. So if it's true that you need to check your planner, check your planner. Then if the answer is yes, the answer is, I have looked at my current commitments. This can fit in as long as the time commitment is XYZ, or the time commitment is whatever we discussed when we were just talking about it.
Setting expectations.
Setting expectations, setting some boundaries. So you think you're saying yes to 1 hour a month, but what you actually said yes to was 10 hours a week. Okay, that is the danger in saying yes too quickly. So you must always understand the time commitment the person is asking for. So one way to say no without feeling like a jerk is to say, let me check my planner, and then make sure you have all the information about what you're committing yourself to, and then make a good decision. Another way to say no without feeling like a jerk is to say, I budget my time for 3 community board positions at any one time. I am currently on 3 community boards. Thank you for this opportunity. It is not something I can fit into my current commitments. But if it's something you're really interested in, check back with me next year. But that requires knowing.
Right. Well, the setting your goals, saying, okay, I'm only going to
and your boundaries
associated with 3 a year.
One of my clients is an attorney in Savannah, and we listed the number of boards this person was on. It was 15. various boards, and so we had to pare it down. We had to say which one is most consistent with your values, and we found out that 10 of the 15 were education related boards, and education wasn't one of his core primary values, so he was spending the bulk of his community service time in an area that wasn't really his primary passion. So he devised a plan to say no and to roll off of the bulk of these boards and then redistribute his time toward the things that were really, really important to him.
Well, that's a real strategic planning thing for PR too. You know,
Sit down and write.
Boards.
It is. I mean,
yeah.
the key. If you think I'm overcommitted, you're probably right. And take a
if
second.
You're a small business owner, you're overcommitted.
Yeah. Take a moment and write down the things that you're committed to. It will be very, very eye-opening for you. So no, it doesn't. You know, I limit myself to this number of boards. That's another way to say no without feeling like a jerk.
Well, you did write an entire book.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I mean, love your calendar and be monogamous. Check it out.
Yeah.
So absolutely, do not be available 24 hours a day. Do not say yes. Do not over yes yourself. Okay. But also, here's a very specific tip. Especially when we circle back around to that work hours question, how many hours a week do you work? Back in the day, manufacturing facilities, okay, picture this with me. There were these time clocks on the wall, right?
Right.
And worker would walk in door, worker would get card, insert in time clock, hear a very satisfying ching sound, and insert, and that was a ritual that started the day. Conversely, at the end of the day, worker would leave job, pick up time card, ching.
I need to get one of those.
I know. But think about it psychologically.
Exactly.
Think about it.
Yeah.
It is permission to start and
End.
permission to
And
end.
oh yeah, that's fabulous.
It's
that's a great
permission to
tip.
start and permission to end.
Melissa, that's awesome.
You must give yourself that permission because nobody else will.
I wonder how many small businesses actually burn out and don't make it the first 5 years. I mean, most small businesses don't work.
Most small businesses fail in the first 2 years, usually because of underfunding. That's what I've read. But I will say, in terms of business owner burnout, failing to place these limits, failing to give yourself permission to start and end is a key factor of just saying, why in the world did I do this to begin with? I did this to make my life better, and now it's worse. He's taking over my life. So here's what this looks like. I know you wanted concrete tips. I had a client yesterday, and we put 2 calendar appointments on his calendar every single day, and we called it his start of day ritual and his end of day ritual. And we picked the time periods, these 30-minute blocks of time that were appropriate to his work hours, and we set certain things that he wanted to do. Think about the time clock ritual. He doesn't really clock in and out, he's an executive. But what we said is to start the day, you're gonna start the day at this time. The first thing you're gonna do is update your task list. The second thing you're gonna do is, it is a ritual. And ritual doesn't mean we're burning incense. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I also heard writers have to have a ritual to get
I'm a writer.
Yeah.
I have a ritual.
Yeah.
It involves fuzzy socks and a glass of ice water. But that's a story for another time. But for this client, we had a 4-step morning ritual that did not involve check email, that helped gear him up for a productive day.
Steps?
Okay, for him it was look at calendar, update task list, read devotional, get cup of coffee. And once that coffee was hot on the desk, the day began. And then at the end of the day, we set a ritual for him that was the closing ritual. Okay. And it was update task list, check calendar for the next 3 days, throw away paper on desk, leave office.
By 5 o'clock?
Yeah. For him, it was 7. Like he wanted to be gone by 5:45. That was what worked for him. So that changes for every person. But here's the deal: if you put these rituals on your calendar, it is an auditory notification. Remember, ching.
This is the doctor talking
it's
now.
It's an auditory notification.
This
we human beings are very ritualistic creatures anyway. We follow the same routines getting ready in the morning. And we need to capitalize on this. We need to take advantage of our natural tendency toward ritualistic behavior and use it to help us set boundaries in our work. So that, yes, you need to know your goals, absolutely, but you also need to know your limits.
Right.
Know your limits.
I'm telling you, most small businesses don't.
Yes, so the second most...
We're the ones out in the community doing everything.
I know. Oh, have you heard, I forgot who said it, and somebody's going to comment, and I hope so. If you want something done, ask a busy person.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. If you want something done, ask a busy person. So people, those of us who are owning businesses and who are very, very busy and productive, are going to get asked over and over and over again to do more stuff. So just expect that. But so if you don't set boundaries, nobody will.
So you're saying set boundaries in every aspect of your life.
Absolutely.
So you
your
can measure
days, your weeks, and in some. If you think about it, setting goals is also setting boundaries. It's directing your efforts toward a certain thing rather than wandering, hither and thither toward your destination. So that is the second most unproductive behavior that I see amongst my small business owner clients, is failing to set boundaries on their time, their life, all that kind of stuff. All right, now number 3, doing it all myself. Doing it all myself. The best advice I got when I was 20-something and starting off in business was my very, very wise boss looked at me and said, Melissa, strive every day to work yourself out of a job. Strive every day to work yourself out of a job.
So yes.
I thought she was crazy. I'm like, I like my job. I want my job. Why would I strive to work myself out of my job? But think about it. Okay, so here was her point, at least in the corporate America sense.
Right.
If I, as this 20-something kid, improved my processes, if I taught others to do the things that currently I was the only one who knew how to do, if I led projects to improve the situation, I displayed analytical thinking, delegation, leadership skills, strategic thinking, all the competencies that are essential for the next level,
right?
To be promoted. So strive every day to work yourself out of a job. So here's how this applies specifically to small business owners. You know how I said I have the question where I go in and I look at the small business owner, and I say, how many hours do you work a week? And they give me the bunny and the headlights. Because I like bunnies and headlights, apparently, that's sick. I ask them another question that elicits a very similar stare. I will say, where are your documented processes?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
What documented processes? So, seriously,
that's
it's all in our heads. I know how to do
that.
things.
You have to have that if you're a small business owner.
You do, and sometimes there's legal and regulatory reasons for it,
right.
Absolutely. But more often than not, I know how to do these things. Why should I write it down? Well, if you know how to do these things, guess who's going to have to do them? You.
So, are you a small business owner or a small business employee?
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. I was sitting next.
Owner is an owner. You're
yeah,
not supposed to be
exactly. I was sitting next to a guy who owned a tech company at a conference last month, and I said, and we were talking about getting together and having coffee sometime, and I said, okay, well, why don't you just give me the name of your assistant, and I will contact him or her, and we'll set something up. He goes, I don't have an assistant, and we both simultaneously said, I am the assistant.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so think about it. If you are the only one who knows how to do stuff, you must do it. You must be the one always to do it. You can never. I told one of my clients who is managing a website for a not-for-profit. I said, I hope you never die. I hope you never go on vacation, because if you do either one of those things, this website will come collapsing down.
I guess small business owners feel like you have to hire somebody, and when in fact you can. There's instances where you can 1099, subcontract them out.
Absolutely. But here's the deal: the reason why they don't end up finding these subcontractors, these virtual assistants, whatever it is because they feel like they couldn't possibly explain to them how to do this thing, and then. Either that, or once I got that person trained, if they left and went somewhere else, and I had to train a whole new person. Mm-hmm. But here's the situation, and I'll give you a personal example of this. Not that I do everything right, but my daughter is 15, and she does a lot of my social media. She posts my newsletter, she posts my blog, she posts my YouTube videos. She does these things for me. But her first job when I hired her on as my marketing assistant was to document how I did all this stuff. She had to sit there with her laptop open and watch me post a blog. And then she documented every button I clicked, every password I entered, every adjustment I made.
Ready to scale up.
We ended up with 7 different, like, multi-page documents on how to do this stuff. And now, Maddie is going to college in a couple of years, and I hope she'll continue to work for me, but I can't count on that. But I tell you what, if and when Maddie leaves my employ, I will be able to give someone else all these how-to documents, and they'll be able to pick it up like that.
Right. And hopefully she can train them a little bit too.
Absolutely, absolutely. But document your processes. I work with clients that do this all the time. Developing standard operating procedures does not have to be tedious and annoying and boring and whatever. It is the lifeblood of your business. And if you want to ever sell your business, what do you have to sell? Yeah, really. What do you have to sell? You have your brand, okay? You have and you have your client list, but it's also your process documentation. It's those procedures of how we do what we do efficiently.
And probably most of the small businesses watching have 1 or 2 people, and if they're going to ever sell their business,
yes,
this is really great advice.
Absolutely. So that is the third thing, the third most unproductive behavior that I see small business owners fall into, which is keeping too many things on themselves and failure to remember that their job is to work themselves out of a job.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
As a small business owner, we never feel like there's any time to sit down and do something like that, because that's taking time away from selling or making money.
Right.
So what would be your advice on finding some time every day to start these processes?
Well, I don't necessarily think you must find time every day, but because that may not work for the flow of your business. But I do think you can block time on your calendar, whether it's every day, whether it's once a week, once a month, a retreat over a weekend, whatever time it is, block the time on your calendar. But here's the second part, and this is the hard part: honor the time that you block.
Something always comes up.
That you block. Honor the time that you block. Okay.
I blocked something for this Friday.
Yeah, and it's gone.
It's gone.
And it's gone. So in order to combat that, I never honor the time I block thing. I have people, especially if we're doing time blocking on a larger scale. For example, I'll have an executive that says, I never have desk time. I need some desk time just to think and work through stuff. So we'll set desk time hours on their calendar every week. But that's the easy part. So we set the desk time on their calendar, and then we develop a list of reasons to give up desk time. Okay, well, just go ahead and know.
Brilliant.
Go ahead and know you're going to do it.
What are the top 3?
If a senior VP or above calls me, if I have a family emergency, those types of things. But go ahead and acknowledge you're going to give this up. But again, boundaries. If you set boundaries, this request does not fit into my reasons to give up my blocked off time. If you don't have those reasons, laid out, then anything that is with the reason to give it up for you, then yeah. I mean,
but always stuff like that always pops up. It's like, oh my gosh.
Well, I mean, there does come a time to say no without feeling like a jerk. But I can't give every possible scenario here. But I would just say, lay out 80% of the reasons, because you can never get 100%. Lay out 80% of the reasons why you might give up your blocked off time. There will always be the random 20%, but if you know why you give it up, you'll also know why you won't. Okay?
That desk time, I actually walk and think. I wonder if there's any studies out talking about...
I've seen studies about standing meetings.
Yeah. That's a big thing in Savannah, a walking meeting now.
Absolutely. So
especially with all the healthy Savannah stuff going on. Yeah, walk and talk.
All in all, small business owners, you are in control of your calendar. You are in control of your goals. You are in control of your processes. Show it. Make that a priority so that you are directing the business rather than being directed by your business. It can be done. I help people be productive every day, every week. It is a skill to be learned. Let me just say this. I was not born organized. I was born with a personality type that would defy any type of planning or decision making. I test out as a flighty, fly by the seat of my pants person who thinks calendars are for wimps. If I can do it, if I can learn the skills to be disciplined, productive, systematic, and effective, you can too. It's a skill set and you can learn it.
So what is your website? And if anybody has any questions, they can leave them here or contact you. How do they contact you?
Absolutely, thank you. My website, and because my name is pronounced Gratias, but it is not spelled that way, so pardon me while we have a spelling lesson. My website is www.melissagratias.com. That's MELISSA, ready for it, gratias.com. And all my contact information, my blog is there. You can sign up for my bi-weekly newsletter with my productivity tips.
You have the best tips that come through. I'm so glad I finally got
stories. I love telling stories.
So glad I got to interview you finally. What good information. And thank you on behalf of the small business owners watching this, because this is what we need.
Yay, we all need it.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.